Hey guys, welcome back to another video in the Roblox TypeScript tutorial series. Today we're going to do scopes and probably go over a couple operators too. So, the first thing I want to get out of the way, sorry I have not made a tutorial in 10 months, oh my god. I have had zero motivation to do that, and for that I am sorry. Alright, now second of all, we had our project set up wrong. So this is not what your Roblox projects are going to look like. It's not just going to be one script in here. So I may as well get you used to it now and have your code base set up for when we actually start syncing code to Roblox Studio. So I have this open in my terminal, as you can see. I just right clicked and pressed open in terminal. So what I'm going to do now is just type out npm init roblox-ts. So this will run a script called create roblox-ts. Basically what this does is just creates a Roblox TypeScript project for you. Alright, so the project directory you're going to give it, in this case I'm already in my projects folder, so I'll just do dot to signify that I'm already in it. For the template we're going to do a game, obviously, because we're going to be making games, not models, plugins, or packages. We are going to configure Git so we can upload our code to GitHub. That way you guys will be able to look at it after I finish these tutorials. We're not going to configure ESLint and Prettier because I do not like using those, I'm not going to lie. We are going to configure the VS Code project settings. Alrighty, now that that's done, you'll see we have a source folder, an out folder, node modules include, and these two which are unimportant. This is also somewhat unimportant, at least as of right now. So source, this is where all your TypeScript files are going to go. You'll see we have client, server, and shared. So we have our main client file right here, our main server file, and a little module that it creates. And then in out, this is where our Lua gets written to when we compile our code. So if we look in here, you'll see we have the Lua files, or the luau files. This is your node modules. It's just where your npm packages are stored, so like extra libraries that you install from other people. This is your include folder, and it just adds 2 Lua files that Roblox TypeScript needs to run your code. So now that we have this set up, I'm going to go ahead and open my Visual Studio Code. Then we're going to go into source here. We're going to open our server file. So you can see it imports make hello from our shared module, which just exports a function that says hello from name. So it says hello from main.server.ts. So we're just going to get rid of this. Also going to get rid of our client file for now. And then we're going to get rid of the code in here. Okay, so now we can actually get started on the meat and potatoes of the tutorial, which is scopes and operators. So, if you think of variables like furniture, then a scope is sort of like a room. You can put your variables inside of the scope, and the variables live inside of that scope. So, right now, we are in the global scope. There's a scope already created for us. So that means if we make a variable, this variable x now lives in the global scope. But if we were to define a block using the curly brace syntax like this creates a new scope, and you may recognize this from when we did functions. Blocks are also used in functions, and functions also create new scopes. So inside of our block here, if we create another variable, let's call it y, this variable y now lives only inside of this scope, which means that if we try to access y from outside of it, you'll see it says cannot find named y because this variable y does not live in the global scope, it lives in this local scope here. And any local scope can access variables from the outer scope. So if we wanted to take x in this local scope here, we could do that. We just cannot take y outside of this local scope. So you can see we can do it in here. Scopes are also separated from each other. This means that if we have x in this local scope, and y in this local scope, and we can't access y from here, we can't access x from here. We could only do that if they both had a shared scope, in this case being the global scope, like if we did z here, because then we could do that. Alrighty, now we're going to go over all of the basic operators that TypeScript has. So, I have this page here. This is the written version of my tutorials. As you can see, we already got scope in here. So, we'll start with the arithmetic operators. So we have addition, obviously, subtraction, obviously, and I'm sure you guys know multiplication and division symbols, which is just asterisk and slash. This is where it gets a little more complicated. Modulus, which is the remainder of a division operation. So for example, if we did 9 modulus 4, then the remainder would be 1. See? Then we have exponentation, which is just x to the power of y. So for example, we could square 5 by doing 5 star star 2. This would be 25. And then we've got comparison operators. Comparison operators compare things, if you couldn't tell. So we have this triple equals operator. This just checks if A is equal to B, A being the left side of the operation and B being the right side of the operation. So if we did true equals true, this is obviously true because true is true. Yeah, confusing, right? We have does not equal. This is just the opposite of this one. So if we did true does not equal true, this is false, of course. Then we have greater than. Then we have greater than or equal to. Less than or equal to. I'm sure you guys know these. Then we have logical operators. So basically, logical operators are used to test multiple Boolean conditions. So what that would mean is, say we have this variable here is owner, which is true. Say we have this variable is VIP, which is false. So now let's define a variable that defines whether or not a user has access to some door. So it has access to door equals is VIP or is owner. So what this means is, for this to be true, either is VIP or is owner has to be true. But for and, let's say we have a variable called has permissions, and let's say the player is the owner and has permissions, and then we'll do like say can chat or something, or can admin chat. So to be able to admin chat, you're gonna have to have permissions and you're gonna have to be the owner. So what this means is for can admin chat to be true, both has permissions and is owner have to be true. If either one of these is false, then can admin chat is also false. But for or, if either one of these is true, then has access to door is true. So those are all of the binary operators, which means it has a left side and then a right side, like a plus 2, for example. But these are unary operators. So for arithmetic, we have identity. This literally just does nothing. Plus 5 is just 5. Then we have negation, just like Lua. -7, of course. And then we have a logical unary operator, exclamation mark, or bang. This is just not. It's like negating a Boolean. So what it says here is not true is equal to false, and not false is equal to true. And then for postfix operators, these are like unary, but instead of coming before the value, it comes after the value. So if we have a variable x, for example, and we do x plus plus, x is being added to once. X plus plus is the same thing as x equals x plus 1, or in other words, x plus equals 1. These all do the same thing. They just add 1 to x. However, x plus plus is an expression, which means you can use it as a value. So if we did const y equals x plus plus, then you might think that we get 1 from this, but it actually gives us the value before adding 1 to it. So in this case, y would be equal to 0. But if we defined y after we did the increment, now y would be equal to 1. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will be doing more soon, I promise. I said I wouldn't give up on this, and I can't give up. I can't do it, guys, okay? So, I'll see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.